Good evening, and welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News. If you're watching this now, you're likely asking one big question. Could tomorrow really be the day that changes everything for holders of the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong? Community chatter, online forums, and social media posts are loud with talk that an RV activation or revaluation event might happen just as the clock strikes. We're diving into what exactly that means, why people are so excited, what evidence is being cited right now, and whether the excitement is justified or just wishful thinking. Stay with us until the end, because we'll also walk through what you should do or not do if you're holding these currencies. This could be one of the most important videos you watch this year if you're invested in either currency. But before the celebrations begin, let's break it down in plain language. What is RV? What are the signs and how plausible is it? First, let's clarify. When people talk about an RV activation, they mean a currency revaluation, a moment when a country's currency currently trading at a low rate is officially increased in value relative to other currencies such as the US dollar. For the Iraqi dinar, many in the community believe that one day the dinar will go from its historically weak status to a much higher exchange rate, potentially giving large gains to those holding it. For the Vietnamese dong, the logic is similar. The dong is very low compared to the dollar, so a revaluation, if it happened, could also mean gains. But, and this is important, revaluations of this sort are extremely rare, especially for widely held foreign currencies. They don't happen overnight without massive planning, international coordination, and usually official announcements. In fact, experts warn that many of the hard promises or predictions around dinar dong revaluations are speculative at best. So, why is tomorrow's date suddenly being whispered about in forums and chat groups? For one, there are reports of unusual activity. In Iraq, for example, recent data from currency exchange offices in Baghdad and Erbil show the exchange rate of the dollar against the dinar inching higher. On 41,700 dinars per 100 in Baghdad, central exchanges up from 141,600 earlier. Some interpret this as a pair RV move or a signal that something is shifting. Meanwhile, in the dong world, rumors of good news about the Vietnamese dong revaluing have been circulating online. Let's look at the economic backdrop in Iraq. The country has been working hard to stabilize its economy, debt repayment, increasing oil production, modernizing the banking system, all are key pieces of the puzzle. A revaluation of the dinar would require solid foundations, a stable macro economy, credible banking infrastructure, transparent institutions. Without those, a rapid RV would risk collapse, chaos, or inflation. So analysts ask, has Iraq done enough yet for a meaningful RV? Some sources remain skeptical, and at least one article titled, "The Iraqi Dinar Revaluation Deception, 10 Persistent False Claims Exposed," lays out how the revaluation narrative has been promoted for decades without actual delivery. Iraq Business News, so even with the signs, it's wise to remain cautious. Turning to Vietnam and the dong. Vietnam is among the fastest growing economies in Southeast Asia. The manufacturing sector is booming, export capacity is expanding, foreign investment is growing. It stands to reason that the dong's value might gradually appreciate, or that at some point a larger adjustment could be on the cards. However, experts are the dong is still tightly managed by the nation's central bank, and any sudden revaluation is unlikely without careful planning. For example, one article says investing in the dong is no sure bet and warns speculators to be careful. RNZ the point, just because an economy is doing well doesn't mean a dramatic overnight revaluation will follow. Now let's highlight why many holders of these currencies are excited about tomorrow. The chatter includes claims that certain currency exchange dealers have temporarily halted sales of certain denominations. Others claim banking system updates are scheduled to install new software in Iraqi banks to handle higher value transactions in preparation. Some point to international trade agreements in progress that may favor a stronger currency. There are mentions of central bank officials meeting or aligned timing of economic events. All of these been the narrative of something big could drop tomorrow. But, and this is a big but, Many of these claims are either anonymous, unverified, or speculative. The fact that many past tomorrow predictions did not materialize should also humble expectations. It is absolutely essential to address the risks and the reality check. Studies and financial regulator warnings show that the Iraqi dinar investment market has been the stage for scams for many years. For example, one U.S. court document noted that promoters running layaway contracts sold dinar holdings promising the RV would happen tonight or tomorrow, but the revaluation never occurred. Supreme Court also government warnings in the U.S. point to foreign currency fraud involving purchases of Iraqi dinars or Vietnamese dong on the promise of guaranteed gains. Play no, gov. So if you own these currencies or are thinking of buying, you must be incredibly cautious. Understand this is more speculation than standard investment. Let's examine what a real revaluation would require. First, the central bank of the country must decide to change the fixed or managed exchange rate to a significantly higher level or drop zeros, etc. Second, the banking and payment system must be able to handle higher nominal values and likely greater liquidity. Third, international markets and trade partners must accept the new value to avoid shock or flight. Fourth, the country's macroeconomy must be sufficiently stable as inflation under control, foreign reserves solid, credible governance. Without these, even a revaluation could backfire, causing inflation, black market arbitrage, or loss of trust. In short, real currency reform is not like flipping a switch based purely on social media hype. In the case of Iraq, the official peg of the dinar to the US dollar has been managed by the Central Bank of Iraq. Historical data show that while the dinar has re-denominated or been devalued, it has not been revalued upward in a dramatic overnight event aimed at speculator gains. Now let's look at the tomorrow claim with healthy skepticism. Many past dates have been floated for a dinar or dong RV, only for nothing to happen. The article, The Iraqi Dinar Revaluation Deception, lists how specific date predictions have repeatedly failed over decades. Iraq Business News. So when you see social media posts saying, "This is the day," ask, what's the verifiable source? Is there an official announcement? Is there credible economic logic that fits the claim? Is there documented banking or regulatory change? The answer in many cases has been no. Thus, caring tomorrow is not enough to take large financial action without risking disappointment and potential financial loss. What could happen tomorrow if the rumors are correct? One possibility, a government announcement saying the dinar or dong will be valued at a new official rate. The banking system may open for redemptions or exchanges. Dealers may start quoting a new rate. For holders, this might mean the value of holdings goes up significantly. But realistically, it could also be a gradual change spread over days, weeks, or months, not a sudden leap. Another possibility, nothing happens, or the announcement is vague, which still may not translate into actual gains for currency holders. It's also possible the announcement relates to another form of monetary reform, ZG, redenomination, banking reform rather than a full RV, as imagined by speculators. If you are holding the dinar or the dong, here are some practical steps to consider. First, know exactly where and how you can exchange your holdings. Many banks don't deal in exotic currencies like Iraqi dinars or Vietnamese dong, especially outside the issuing country. Some currency exchange offices' limitations apply, may require advance notice, large minimums, or impose high fees. Keep detailed records of when you purchased your currency, how much you paid, and the exact rate. If you do realize a gain, you may face tax implications in your country. Gains from currency exchanges are often taxable. Third, avoid making emotional decisions based purely on hype. If the promise is overnight riches, ask what's the underlying economic reason. Use only money you can afford to lose. It's also wise to manage expectations around what gains might realistically look like. Some in the dinar dong communities expect the dinar to go from its current low value to near parity with the US dollar or some extremely high number. But experts say this is likely unrealistic because the dinar does not freely trade on global markets, and the peg remains managed. Investopedia for the dong. Similar logic applies. While it may appreciate over time, a dramatic overnight change is unlikely given current structure. So if you hold either currency, think in scenarios modest appreciation vs dramatic leap. Even a modest increase could mean meaningful returns for large holdings, but the jackpot scenario remains speculative. Let's revisit some of the key red flags you should watch out for. 1. If someone guarantees you a specific rate or return from the revaluation of the dinar or dong. That's almost always a scam warning sign. 2. If promoters tell you tomorrow is the date, yet provide no official documentation or credible sources. The article exposing dinar revaluation false claims highlights those specific tactics: pressure, urgency, inside information if the currency is being sold in packages with extra fees or linked to other questionable offerings. And 4. Always verify if the currency is tradable in your country, whether you can actually realize any gain. Not just hold the note and hope. Why do these revaluation rumors persist so long? Because the story is compelling. Imagine buying a currency at a low value and then getting a windfall when the government declares, "We're raising the value." It taps into hope, and for some smaller communities online, the dinar dong narrative builds strong group momentum. But the reality is that currency values are rarely dictated by hype. They are driven by macroeconomic fundamentals: trade balances, political stability, global investor confidence. The Iraqi dinar has significant structural constraints: limited global trading volume, the Iraqi economy's dependence on oil, geopolitical risk, banking system challenges. The dong similarly has export-oriented pressures, currency management considerations, and slower structural evolution. So while the hope lives, the structural battle remains. Let's talk about how to follow this story tomorrow and beyond. If you're holding one of these currencies, don't just watch social media, monitor official channels, the Central Bank of Iraq, Iraq's Ministry of Finance, credible financial news outlets, major currency data providers. A genuine RV event would likely be accompanied by official statements, banking system updates, international notices. If you see only forum posts saying it's happening and no official confirmation, take it as speculation. Also, keep an eye on practical liquidity. Even if there's a change, can you actually exchange your holdings? Are exchange services offering realistic rates? Are there large spreads, delays, limits? These factors matter as much as the headline rate change. If nothing happens tomorrow, which is entirely possible, it's important not to panic or assume you've lost. Many investors in these currency communities have been waiting years for the moment and have faced disappointment when predicted dates passed. That doesn't mean the currency can't appreciate over time. It just means the timing may be different than expected. Use the downtime to reassess your strategy. Why did you purchase the currency? What is your exit strategy? Are there better uses for your capital? Remember, having a long-term view combined with realistic expectations is often wiser than banking on a speculative overnight event. The story might still evolve in weeks or months, or perhaps never in the way hopeful holders expect. Let's also consider what a partial or incremental revaluation might look like, rather than the big jump the community hopes for. For example, the currency may be gradually allowed to float more, its peg relaxed, small appreciation allowed, or certain banking reforms may increase accessibility. This kind of slow and steady improvement is much more consistent with how modern monetary policy works versus the dramatic RV event. If that happens, holders may see some gains, but likely not an overnight windfall. And that may still be a positive outcome, especially if you're holding for the long term. Conversely, if you hear claims of instant, massive gains tomorrow, be sure to ask, where is the official policy change? Where is the liquidity? In closing, tomorrow could be a moment of significance, or it could be just another date in the long line of expected RV days that pass uneventfully. What we do know is the economic developments in Iraq and Vietnam are real. They are evolving and currency values may shift over time, but the jump from speculation to reality is a big one. If you hold the dinar or dong, stay informed, keep your expectations grounded, and manage risk. Don't let hype alone drive your financial decisions. We'll be watching tomorrow closely, and we'll bring you updates if anything materializes. If you found this analysis helpful, please like, subscribe, share with others, hold in these currencies, and let us know in the comments what you believe about tomorrow's potential activation. Until next time, stay sharp, do your research, and remember, only invest what you can afford to lose. Thank you for being with us on Iraqi Dinar News.